welcome back to my channel. Today we'll be doing the mid-year book freakout tag. This is a tag that was been going around for like years now. And it's kind of like an update about how this whole thing went. My reading year so far, at least. I'm going to start with a quick update with how my current reading goal has been going. I'm laughing because it's a little sad. It's not sad, it's just I'm very behind. My goal for 2021 was to read 100 books, and I have read 39 so far. So I'm very behind in my reading, but as a whole, I'm trying to catch up. I'm trying to catch up over the summer and even like get ahead. So I'm not worrying as much once the semester picks up again. Because that's like the big thing I have to worry about, especially with how last semester went. But I also know I can't rely on last semester because learning at home is hard. But with that said, I have, out of the 39 books I've read so far, and the books that I have planned to read in the future, let's get into the questions. Question 1. Best book you've read so far in 2021? For me, I think that would have to be The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab. This was actually the first book I read during the year, and it's held its position so far. I adore this book a lot, and I'm very happy with reading this and starting my year with this book. Question 2. Best sequel you read so far in 2021? I think that would have to be We Free the Stars by Hassa Fazal. I don't think I've read very many sequels. I don't think I have, but if I did, none of them really stood out that much. I need to get back onto sequels. I need to start working on finishing series. But I did read this one, and I did conclude a series, and her writing is so beautiful, and the story is so beautiful, and the characters, I love their interactions with each other, and it was just overall such a good book. I'm so excited to actually continue reading more of her books, and especially I follow her on social media, and I've seen she's been talking a little bit about her next book, and I'm so excited for it to come out because she's definitely risen to being one of my favorite authors. Question 3 is new releases you haven't read yet but want to. There's several that I could say for that, like Chain of Iron by Cassandra Clare. I really need to read this still. These Feathered Flames I really need to read. One Last Stop. I'm going to be reading this relatively soon though. But I actually haven't been paying that much attention on releases past year, and I do want to get back on top of that and actually pay more attention to what's coming out in the book world. Hopefully I can do that more. with how things will be, hopefully with how, with 2022, I'm hoping in the second half of 2021, I want to be more invested in the books coming out. Which also turns into question 4, which is most anticipated release for the second half of the year. And because I don't know very much about what's being released, I would probably have to say Witch Shadow, which is the next book in the Truth Witch series. It was originally supposed to come out in February, but the release date was pushed to the end of June, so it's not that far away from being released, but I'm still so excited to actually get to read it. Question 5 is biggest disappointment. This is actually, we're spreading this over like a couple books for this. So, I've completed the Shadow of the Fox trilogy, and I found that these were both of them were very disappointing to me, and I just kind of like, I didn't care, and I wasn't a fan, and the rating just dropped so much, especially by the time we went to the third book, and it was so disappointing, especially with how like the first book was a 5-star read for me, and then the series went like I think 3, 4, and then 2, and so it was like a really downhill thing, and it was so disappointing from it. So there's that. Question 6 is biggest surprise. I'm gonna have to say Honey Girl. I don't have my copy with me physically, but honestly, it was such a beautiful book. I adore it with so much of my soul. It was so good. I loved it. I felt like it was such an important story, and I don't think I'll ever shut up about how beautiful it was. Question 7 is favorite new author, debut or new to you. So a new to me author that I read is Eden Thomas. I read Cemetery Boys, and I've really enjoyed it, and it's definitely put him on like a list of authors that I would love to read more from, and I actually have his other book, and I will be reading it during the second half of the year. At some point, I'm thinking I'm gonna try to read it in June, but I don't know how well that's gonna go with these piles are the books that I'm planning on reading in June. So it's ambitious. I don't know how likely it is that I'm actually going to, but that's the plan. So I definitely like really enjoyed his writing from what I've seen, and I'm excited. I really am. Question 8 is newest fictional crush. We're going back to Honey Girl, and it's gonna be Yuri. She's the love interest, and I love her with every fiber of my soul. She's just so great, and I just adore her with so much of me. I'm definitely like so happy that I actually like got to read it this year, and just so much joy. Question 9, newest favorite character. There isn't really any character that really stands out. Like, I love Yuri from Honey Girl, as I briefly mentioned. And like, I loved Yadriel, and I really liked Henry and Addie. Just, that's a lot of what I've already talked about, which I guess is fun. Question 10, book that made you cry. There isn't any books that made me cry so far this year, and I'm relatively okay with that. I don't enjoy crying. Or like, there hasn't been any books that made me extremely emotional. But question 11 is book that made you happy. I reread the Six of Crows duology, and that series always makes me happy, especially considering that I didn't have a reread last year. So much joy. Question 12, most beautiful book you've bought so far this year or received. And the book for me is The Silvered Servants by Rashani Chokski. This book is so beautiful to me. Like, it's just, she's gorgeous. And this I also gonna have to read at some point, but it's so pretty. Question 13 is, what books do you need to read by the end of the year? I'm just gonna make a list, I suppose. I want to read Chain of... Actually, I have a video of a list of books that I want to read in 2021, so maybe I will either put it in the cards or link it down below, but I feel like that's probably like the best option for me to say for this, because other than what comes out and I get right away, that's pretty much what I'm working with. So yeah. Question 14 is favorite book community member, and this is a recent YouTuber that a couple of recent YouTubers that I fell in love with. It's Jan Akaton. I'll leave her link down below. She's a booktuber and she's so wonderful. I just really enjoy her content. I really enjoy Olivia Reads a Latte. Her content's really fun. Recently discovered Sappho's Library, and I adore her channel and her content, especially her like sapphic recommendations. So she's another one that I would recommend. Yeah, and that's all the questions. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in my next one.